Hello everyone, welcome back to the Python for the Beginners series. So today in this video we are going to cover about the loops in Python. So loops means to perform a certain task multiple times. Generally there are two types of loop in Python. They are for loop and while loop. So the difference in these two loops is we are going to use the for loop if the number of iterations are known. But we are going to use the while loop if we don't know the number of the iteration. So let's start by talking about the for loop in first. So to define the for loop, simply write for and give any variable name. Let me say I in range. Let me say I have to go from the range of 0 to 10 and give the colon and also remember the indent. Okay, if you don't use the indent then you will get an error. So let me print the value of I. Now if I run this, you can see it has printed the value of I starting from 0 all over to 9. As you can see, it has included this starting range but have excluded this end range. Okay, so this is also equivalent to this. If you have to start a loop from 0, then you also may not give the starting number as 0. Okay, if you want to start a loop from 1, then you should give the number 1 as a starting number. Okay, now let me say you want to print I love Python for the 10 times. So this will go from 1 to 9, so it will only print this statement 9 times. So you should start from 0 and it will go all over to 9, that is 0 to 9 means it will iterate over 10 values. Okay, now if I run this, then you can see it has printed a Python for 10 times. You can count here. Okay, this is the for loop. Now in the case of while loop, what you can do is simply write while, give the variable name is less than 10 and give the colon. But before using this, you have to initialize the value of I as 0 or any value that you want to decide as the starting value. Okay, so simply have to print I, and in each case what you want to do is you should increase the value of I by 1. Okay, now let me clear out this terminal and let me print this. You can see it has printed from 0 to 9. This is same as the for loop, that is from for I in range 0 to 10, right? So in case of while loop, what we did first is we first initialize the value of the iterating variable, that is I here, and we specify the stopping condition here, and we write the statement that you have to perform in the loop. Okay, but in the for loop, what you simply do is write for and give the variable name in range, give the range starting range and ending range, and it will automatically increment the value in each step. Okay, so these are the for loop and the while loop. Okay, now let me explain you more by writing the program to print a multiplication table. Okay, now let me start up from for loop. Okay, so what you have to do is, let me say first I would like to take the input of the number of which I have to print the multiplication table. Okay, or which the user wants to print the multiplication table. Okay, let me say num is equals to input, enter the number, right? So this will take the input from the user and store it in the num variable, but this is of the string data type. You should convert it into the int by using casting, right? Okay, now so what you have to do is for I in range, so we have to print the multiplication table from 1 to 10, right? But if I give the range from 1 to 10, it will go from 1 all over to 9 only. So what I have to give is I have to increment this by 1. So for I in range 1 to 11, what you want to print is you want to print num, right, into I will be equals to I into num, right? So if you are a bit confused of what I have done here, so what I have done is I have simply performed the concatenation here. Okay, so the num is of integer type, right? But this x and this equals to is of string type, right? So you have to concatenate those, right? So you can also concatenate it by using the plus operator, but simply what you can do is you write the integer variable and give the comma to which you want to concatenate it, and for the string variable you simply should give write inside this inverted comma. Okay, this is equivalent to, let me show you, this is equivalent to, sorry, print, okay, str num plus this plus str I plus is equals to and plus str I into, okay. So you have to do a lot of stuff here to concatenate this if you choose to follow this second step, but in the first step you simply see it is very easy here, right? Now let me clear out this terminal and let me print this. Okay, let me say I have to print the multiplication table of 5. Right, when I give enter, as you can see it has printed from here, right? 5 1 is 5, 5 to 10, and all over to 50. Let me run for another number also. Let me say I want a multiplication table of 11. Okay, so I have enter. Now as you can see it has printed the table of the 11, right? So this is done by using the for loop. Okay, now let me say I want to do the same task but by using the while loop. Okay, so for that you should simply initialize the value of the variable, right, the integrating variable. Now write while I is less than or equals to 10. We have to start the value of I and go all over to the value of the 10. Okay, so to the value of 10 what we have to do is simply print num into I is equals to num into I, right? So now let me clear out this terminal and show you whether it is working or not, right? So if I run this, let me say I have to print the multiplication table of 7. Okay, so this is printing all of the value 1 because I forget here to increment the value, right? We should increment this value plus equals to 1. Okay, this has gone to the infinite loop. As you can see here I have scrolled down but it is automatically showing the top, that is it is continuously printing this. Why? Because it haven't matched the stopping condition, right? Because we haven't incremented the value of I here. Okay, now let me stop this, okay, by pressing Ctrl C, clear this. Now let me run this. Okay, let me give the 7, let me give 7 as input. So now it is working. This is the previous output, this is the current output here from here. Okay, 717, 7 to the 14, and so up to 7 into 10, right? So you can see it is so easy to use the for loop and while loop in Python. So this is it for this video. If you like this video, please do like, share and subscribe.